Our top story tonight concerns the internet, aka the electronic cat database.
Here's a video that aged like a fine milk.
The Federal Communications Commission has agreed to move forward on a proposal that could change the way we use the internet.
This video, by the way, is from June 2014, over 5 years ago.
At risk, the basic principle of net neutrality.
Net neutrality.
Net neutrality.
Yes.
So as we all know, this so-called net neutrality never happened, at least not for long. It was repealed in December 2017, after being enacted less than 2 years. And here we are, 4 years later. Let's see how many of their predictions came true.
Net neutrality is actually hugely important. Essentially, it means that all data has to be treated equally, no matter who creates it.
And I went over many reasons why that is not the case, and why ISPs have always had to prioritize certain types of traffic over others.
It's why the internet is a weirdly level playing field, and startups can supplant established brands. That's how Facebook supplanted MySpace, which supplanted Friendster.
Those happened before net neutrality was enacted.
No, this cannot happen. How else is my startup streaming video service Netflix going to compete?
God-awful joke aside, it's hardly the case that we've had no new streaming services since net neutrality was repealed.
Ending net neutrality would allow big companies to buy their way into the fast lane, leaving everyone else in the slow lane.
Yeah, have any of you been experiencing that since the start of 2018? Remember those really terrible and cringingly unfunny memes about how you'd be paying more for different services, your internet speeds would slow way down, and you'd have to pay your ISP for every last little thing you access? Internet speeds are faster, not slower. Streaming services like Netflix are more reliable, not less. It's easier to stream with a cell phone. You aren't being charged extra for specific services. We have more social media sites, not fewer. And unlimited 5G is becoming available to more and more people as cable companies increase speeds to near fiber with DOCSIS 3.1. Also, kinda funny that Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube were the ones supposed to be on the losing side if net neutrality were repealed.
If we let cable companies offer 2 speeds of service, they won't be Usain Bolt and Usain Bolt on a motorbike. They'll be Usain Bolt and Usain bolted to an anchor.
You see what I mean? Now, the purpose of this video isn't just to gloat about how they got it wrong, it's to show you how little you can trust these people. Like Chuck Schumer claiming you'll miss part of a Yankees game and Netflix will keep lagging. Cher saying it'll be slower and more expensive when it's faster and the prices haven't even kept up with inflation. Democrats pretending it'll be at a speed I didn't even experience when I was using a 300 baud modem. Or even saying you won't be allowed to talk about abortion. The total amount of trust you should have in these people is none at all.
But let me tell you a little story. Recently, Comcast was negotiating with Netflix.
I covered this at the time, but I'll recap it. Netflix was being slow because their traffic was overwhelming Comcast's link to the internet backbone. You see, you may not realize this, but ISPs have to pay other companies like Cogent and CenturyLink to gain access to the internet backbone, and they have to pay more the faster that link is. And at the time, streaming video from Netflix was anywhere from 1/4 to 1/3 of all internet traffic. Netflix got around that problem by paying the money to hook up directly to Cogent so they wouldn't have to put up with the extra overhead of going through their own ISP. But that's why it slowed down. It was flooding Comcast's link to the backbone.
See if you can guess when Netflix agreed to Comcast demands.
Oh, I know what they agreed to, but let's watch him completely screw it up.
I'll give you a hint. It's right there. That has all the ingredients of a mob shakedown. Oh, Netflix, nice show about life in a ladies' prison. Such a shame if there was going to be something happen to your connection there.
So what really happened was Netflix added a link directly to Comcast. You may not be aware of this either, but websites, data centers, and hosting providers have to pay for their link to the internet just like you and I do. So if you want to set up a website or data center through Comcast, you'd contact them and they'd hook you up. Netflix did this and actually got a pretty good deal out of it. They could do that since Comcast knew this link would only be delivering traffic to Comcast customers, since Netflix still had all their links to the backbone. All that traffic would be taken off of Comcast's backbone link. And when the traffic is local to Comcast's network, they can move it around all over the place basically for free, or really just part of their normal network maintenance costs they're paying anyway. It was a win-win agreement for everyone involved. But you'd never hear that because morons like John Oliver and most media pundits don't have the first clue how the internet works. They just think that bits go in and magic happens. By the way, Verizon had a similar issue with their backbone provider, as it was then Level 3, but they came up with a different solution. Since they're a regional Bell, they were formerly known as Bell Atlantic, they could use that status to become a backbone provider of their own. They messed up quite a bit, and check this channel for some hilarious examples, but it fixed the problem of Netflix flooding their link with Level 3.
Verizon wants a two-tier system so badly
that they did absolutely nothing to bring it about. What are they waiting on?
It is hardly surprising that cable companies are basically monopolies now.
Well, that's a problem caused by state and local governments. Why did none of you net neutrality advocates work to change that or even point it out? Could you imagine how much better off things would be if they'd put all that time and energy into ending these monopolistic franchise and right-of-way agreements?
A federal study found that 96% of the population had access to 2 or fewer cable broadband providers. It's almost as if they've agreed to stay out of each other's way like drug cartels.
No, they're legally prevented from doing so, moron! So here's the final point to leave you with. He's complaining about cable monopolies, yet he was advocating applying to the entire internet the very same section of the very same law that gave AT&T a monopoly over the phone company for 40 years. Stupid doesn't even begin to cover it. So thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, leave a comment, and go to donate.bogosity.tv to keep me doing what I do. And check out all the great content here, like this video selected just for you.